There's a strange psychological shift that happens around extremely wealthy people. You start performing. You talk more than usual. You explain yourself too quickly. You laugh slightly harder. You begin trying, almost unconsciously, to prove that you belong in the room. And the terrifying part? The people with real power notice this instantly. Because ultra-wealthy circles operate on a completely different social language, one built around restraint, silence, distance, and the ability to need absolutely nothing from anyone around them. In fact, the richest people you'll ever meet often look painfully ordinary. No loud confidence, no visible ambition, no obvious attempt to impress you, almost like they're trying not to exist at all. So why do the most powerful people on Earth intentionally become invisible? And why does modern culture train you to do the exact opposite? Most people think wealth is about visibility. The car, the watch, the vacation photos, the perfectly timed Instagram story. But that's usually how people behave before they become truly wealthy. Because new money needs witnesses. Real power doesn't. The moment status becomes secure, display becomes unnecessary. And this creates one of the strangest reversals in elite culture. The wealthier people become, the less interested they are in appearing wealthy. Which is why truly rich environments often feel strangely understated. The private club with no sign outside. The billionaire wearing faded shoes. The investor who speaks less than everyone else at dinner. Power begins hiding itself. Because once everyone knows you have status, advertising it starts looking insecure. Modern culture tells people, if you have value, display it. But old power learned the opposite lesson long ago. The highest status signals are invisible. Silence is deeply uncomfortable for most people. The second a conversation slows down, they rush to rescue themselves. They overshare, over-explain, fill empty space nervously. But powerful people often do the opposite. They let silence sit. Because silence reveals impulse control. The first person who rushes to fill empty space usually reveals the most insecurity. And people raised around power learn this very early. Silence is not awkward to them. It's diagnostic, a filter. They watch how long you can exist without performing, without proving, without asking the room for reassurance. Because people who constantly seek validation become predictable. And predictable people are easy to control. But silence is not only a filter. For highly powerful people, silence eventually becomes something much more dangerous, a form of control. And that's where calmness becomes unsettling. Most people think dominance looks aggressive, but at the highest levels, power often looks emotionally motionless. The person reacting the least usually controls the frame. Watch how powerful people respond to pressure. Actually, watch how they don't respond. Most people rush emotionally. They answer instantly. They panic when silence appears. They apologize too quickly. They treat urgency like a personality trait. But extreme wealth changes someone's relationship with time itself. The middle class experiences time as pressure. The wealthy experience time as ownership. And this creates an almost unsettling calm. The most powerful person in the room is often the least reactive one. They pause before answering. They move slower. They rarely explain themselves. They never seem emotionally cornered. And when everyone else speeds up, they become quieter. Because once someone becomes powerful enough, they stop using noise to dominate rooms. They use emotional gravity instead. And calmness at high levels of power is not personality, it's leverage. There's a reason old money fashion often looks almost disappointing. Because at a certain level of wealth, looking expensive becomes vulgar. The jacket is handmade, but looks ordinary. The sweater costs thousands, but appears slightly worn. The watch has no diamonds, no oversized face, no obvious branding. To most people, this makes no sense. Why spend enormous amounts of money on things nobody notices? Because hidden wealth signals something far more important than money: detachment. You communicate that your status is permanent enough that it no longer requires maintenance. And nothing signals power more aggressively than indifference, especially indifference to trends. The truly wealthy do not want admiration from strangers. Admiration creates attention, and attention creates exposure. Most people think rich people buy luxury, but what they actually buy is friction reduction. They pay to remove waiting, noise, crowds, explanations, unexpected problems, emotional interruptions. A private driver is friction reduction. A private terminal is friction reduction. A hidden restaurant entrance is friction reduction. At extreme levels of wealth, life becomes a constant project of eliminating unnecessary resistance. And eventually, this changes their psychology completely. Because when your environment becomes frictionless, you begin moving through the world differently, more slowly, more calmly, almost invisibly. This is why ultra-wealthy people often seem emotionally distant, not because they hate people, but because they've built entire systems designed to protect their attention. Because attention, at high levels of power, becomes a resource. At a certain level of wealth, visibility stops feeling rewarding. It starts feeling dangerous. Because attention attracts friction. People want access to you, energy from you, validation from you, opportunities from you. The more visible you become, the harder it becomes to control your own reality. And this is where modern culture becomes almost inverted. Social media trains ordinary people to maximize attention, post more, reveal more, stay visible, stay searchable, stay relevant. But historically, real power often behaved in the exact opposite way. Kings hid behind gates, dynasties hid behind foundations, old money hid behind lawyers and family offices. The internet made ordinary people obsessed with being seen, while the wealthy became increasingly obsessed with disappearing. Because visibility is vulnerability, and the highest forms of status often look invisible to ordinary people.
There's a subtle social test happening in elite environments. Can you exist without performing? Can you tolerate not being fully understood? Can you stop trying to appear impressive every second? Can you resist explaining your value to strangers? Most people fail immediately. They talk too much, reveal too much, try too hard to sound intelligent, try too hard to seem successful. But invisible wealth operates differently. The highest status people often reveal the least about themselves, because mystery creates gravity. And people who desperately need to be understood rarely become powerful. The more secure someone becomes, the less they feel the need to narrate themselves to the world. In the end, all of this comes down to one thing: the absence of need. No need for approval. No need to dominate every conversation. No need to announce success. No need to ask the room for permission to exist. That's why invisible wealth feels so unsettling. Because most people spend their entire lives asking the world for confirmation. Confirmation that they matter, confirmation that they belong, confirmation that they succeeded. But real power moves differently. It stops asking. And maybe that's the final status symbol nobody talks about anymore. Being completely okay, even when nobody notices you at all.
Have you ever noticed yourself rushing to fill silence around someone powerful? Talking too much, explaining too much, trying to prove you belonged there? Right about the moment you realized silence itself can become a form of status. I read every comment, and if you enjoy these deep dives into psychology, power, and invisible status, subscribe to Quiet Capital. See you in the next episode.